In a world full of noise, the softest voice can be the most powerful. Here, we listen to nature, not in chaos, but in calm. Welcome to Nature Speaks. Gentle words, quiet images, one steady frame. Let nature speak softly to your heart. The river begins, not with thunder, but with a quiet source. A spring beneath the soil. A trickle between roots. It doesn't announce its arrival. It simply starts. That's how most journeys in life begin. Quietly. No applause. No spotlight. Just a decision, a direction, a desire to move. There's something profoundly honest about a beginning that no one sees. Like water weaving through unseen places, your growth often happens in silence. But just because it's quiet, doesn't mean it's small. Just because it's invisible, doesn't mean it's insignificant. The river teaches us that strength is not always loud. True beginnings don't need noise. They just need movement. Look at the stones in this river. Hard. Heavy. Unmoving. They don't care about your direction. They don't ask if you're tired. They just exist, where they are. Life has those too. Obstacles that don't budge. People who resist. Moments that don't go as planned. But the river, it doesn't fight. It doesn't argue with the stone. It doesn't say, "Why are you in my way?" It simply adjusts. It flows around. Or over. Or under. It bends, but never breaks. Sometimes we think strength means resistance. But often, real strength means flexibility. The water remains itself, even as it changes shape. The river doesn't stop to ask, "Is this the fastest way? Is there a shortcut? Am I behind?" It trusts its own current. It trusts the direction, even when it can't see the end. You may not know what's beyond the next bend. But that's okay. Your job is not to predict the entire map. Your job is to keep flowing. What matters isn't how quickly you arrive, but that you keep moving toward what matters. Because direction is always more important than speed. There are moments when the river seems still. It pulls behind a rock. It waits in a quiet bend. But it's still water. It's still alive. Sometimes, stillness is not delay. It's preparation. It's healing. It's listening. In your own journey, don't be afraid of pauses. Don't fear the quiet. Stillness isn't the opposite of movement, it's a part of it. The river reminds us, even when you're not rushing forward, you're still being carried. Water is soft. It doesn't have fists. Yet it shapes canyons. It splits stone. It wears down mountains, not in minutes, but in years. The lesson is clear: you don't need to crash to make an impact. You don't need to shout to change things. You don't need to be harsh to be powerful. Gentleness, when consistent, is unstoppable. Let your softness flow into everything you do. Let your consistency carve through resistance. The river proves, you can be kind and powerful. Patient and relentless. Quiet and enduring. Sometimes, the river picks up things along the way. Leaves, dirt, debris. It carries them, for a while. But eventually, it lets them go. You too are carrying things. Some memories. Some regrets. Some fears. Things that serve their purpose. But now weigh you down. Let them go. Let them sink. Let the current cleanse what no longer belongs. Like the river, you don't need to carry everything forever. Release. And flow lighter. Look closely at the banks of the river. They've been carved, gently, slowly, by the movement of water. The river doesn't just travel through the land. It shapes it. Your journey does the same. Every word you speak, every kindness you show, every time you choose compassion over anger, you're shaping the world around you. You may not see the impact right away, but it's there, in the softened edges of someone's pain, in the quiet strength you leave behind. The river doesn't stop when it reaches a town, or a tree, or a bend. It flows through. It continues. It evolves. So do you. You will outgrow people, places, versions of yourself. That's not failure, that's flow. You are allowed to change, to shift, to keep becoming. There is no final version of you. You are the river. You are always in motion. You don't need to be fearless. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to move. Keep flowing. Keep learning. Keep finding a way, even if the way is slow. The river isn't in a rush, but it always arrives. Even the hardest stone can't stop the river that keeps flowing. And neither can anything stop you. If you remember who you are, not the stone, not the barrier, but the flowing force that moves through it all.